Good morning, Boston. Okay, my friends, traffic yesterday, if you noticed in the greater Boston area, was grounded to a halt. Why? They had to close off the O'Neill Tunnel, at least temporarily, because President Trump came to our area, New England. He landed at Logan Airport in Boston. Then there was, of course, a drive all the way up to Concord, New Hampshire, where he delivered, a blistering barn burner of a speech. And what you can now see very, very clearly is that the indictments against him, the witch hunt against him, has energized him. It has given him a massive boost in the polls. It is boomeranging against the corrupt establishment and this vile, corrupt Biden regime that is now trying to do everything in its power to imprison its leading political opponent. As now numerous legal experts are beginning to speak out, the more they look at this federal indictment by Jack Smith, the more it is absolutely laughable on every single front. They want to put him in jail for over 100 years. 100 years on a bogus documents case. I want you to think about that. That's how absurd they are now behaving. This is how desperate they are in order to try to derail Trump because they can now see the opinion polls. And here are now the latest. Trump now has gained 10 more points in New Hampshire. Across the country, he has gained 6 to 8 more points. He now is running away with it against Ron DeSantis. In some polls, he's up 35. Other polls, he's up 42 points. A massive, at this point, almost insurmountable lead. The bigger one is regarding Joe Biden. And this is why the Democrats are petrified. This is why they must put Trump in jail. And they must stop him because now the polls show clearly, with the economy now in serious trouble, with inflation systemic, with our border wide open, with crime after crime after crime wave hitting city after city after city, with a disaster on foreign policy, Biden's numbers have collapsed, especially in the wake now of the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden whistleblower scandal that now is engulfing the entire Biden crime family. Trump now, it depends which polls you look at, Harvard University poll, Associated Press poll, Wall Street Journal, NBC News poll, Washington Post poll, even liberal media establishment polls show Trump beating Biden either 6 points, others have him beating Biden head to head 8, 9, 10 points. These are massive numbers. We're talking a huge landslide. We no longer live in a free country. Political opponents are persecuted. Leading presidential candidates are jailed. Mothers who protest critical race theory are now spied and branded by the FBI as domestic terrorists. In other words, people who oppose or criticize or dissent from this regime are either being hounded, persecuted, or in some cases outright jailed. This is why the opposition to Biden is growing and growing and growing. The ruling class, the swamp, the corrupt political establishment is going to come crashing down. And that was Trump's electric message yesterday in New Hampshire. He was defiant. He was in many ways energetic. He was more determined than ever. He is now a man on a mission. And now I've never seen a candidate speak as openly, as frankly, as honestly as Trump did yesterday. When I say it's no holds barred, It is now no holds barred. Listen now to Donald Trump in Concord, New Hampshire, saying, this is the final battle. It is me versus the deep state. And with the American people at my side, we can and we will prevail. Roll cut 22. Mike.
This is the final battle. This is really the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the sick, crazy warmongers. They are warmongers from our government. And by the way, peace through strength. Don't forget, I built the greatest military in the world. New jets, new everything. Everything was great. Then they gave $85 billion of it away, but even that's peanuts compared to what we did.
So, in other words, it's not weakness. We will have the strongest military in the world. We will have the ultimate deterrent, but we look for no more wars to fight. The days of endless wars, perpetual wars, will be over. But more than that, the corrupt FBI, the corrupt Department of Justice, the corrupt CIA, our corrupt intelligence agencies who are spying on Americans, hounding, harassing, persecuting Americans, who have now been turned, like the FBI, into an American version of the Stasi, which is there to do the bidding of the Democrats and of the regime. Those days are coming to an end. They are going to be profoundly reformed, dismantled, and in the end, we will finally have a truly honest, independent Department of Justice, FBI, and the days of spying on Americans or inciting secret wars around the world will be over. Over. He will bring the military-industrial complex to heel. Listen now to Trump saying, I'm not just coming for the deep state. I'm coming for Mitch McConnell. I'm coming for Mitt Romney. I'm coming for many of these corrupt rhino Republicans. I'm coming for the Democrats. I'm coming for the whole corrupt Washington cartel, the political class, the ruling class. Your days of feasting upon America and Americans' hard-earned money is over. Roll cut 24. Mike.
This election will be the end of the world for the corrupt political class in our nation's capital. And I now know them. You know, I had experience like nobody has had experience. When I went to Washington, I was there 17 times, it was reported. Never slept over, never stayed over. It wasn't my place. It wasn't my world. But it's my world now. I got to know it better than anybody. I know the good ones. I know the weak ones, the bad ones. I know the strong ones. I know them all. I know the smart ones. I know the dummies. We got great people, and we've had great. Look, we rebuilt our military. We largest tax cuts in history for this country. We did so much, and we had great people.
Now, he's directly now putting Biden in his political crosshairs. Listen now to Trump saying, let me tell you now what the issue is. It is patriotism versus globalism. It is patriotism versus treason. Joe Biden is a modern-day Benedict Arnold. He is a traitor who is owned lock, stock, and barrel by communist China. Roll cut 25. Mike.
When I get back in, I will inform China that they have 48 hours to get any military and spy equipment the hell out of Cuba.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Or there will be taxes and tariffs placed on their billions and billions of dollars of things that they send into us like they've never seen before. You know, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in 10 cents. Biden wants to do nothing. The reason he wants to do nothing is because he can't. He can't. He's totally compromised. He's owned by China. Biden is owned by China. Think of it. We have a president. And that's just one of the that's 5.1 million, but there's many more from many different countries.
Now, no other candidate, none, has so openly, honestly, and fearlessly exposed Biden's treasonous links to China the way Trump has. He says it straight. He gives you the full picture. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't mince his words. And he's right. We do have a traitor in the White House. There is no denying it. And there is, the Wall Street Journal broke this story several weeks ago. China now is establishing a spy base in Cuba to spy on our military and our military installations. They're in our backyard. Get China out. 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. Okay, Donald Trump, electric speech in New Hampshire. I'm just curious, were you there? Did you watch the speech? What did you make of it? What was the feeling in the room? Rather than coming across as demoralized or depressed or down because of these indictments, this obvious witch hunt being waged against him, Trump seemed, in fact, now more combative, more defiant, in some ways even more confident than ever. His support is surging, not just in the Republican primaries, but in now national poll after national poll. He is now beating Biden and beating him good. Listen now to Donald Trump. This was on Newsmax, not New Hampshire, but on Newsmax. And I think he hit the Biden regime, hit the nail right on the head. Why is Trump doing so well? Why is Biden floundering? Here's why. Roll cut 21. Mike.
Look, it's the most corrupt administration in the history of this country. There's never been anything like it. Millions and millions of dollars is paid to the family and Joe, and it's a disgrace, and the media doesn't pick it up. You pick it up, and Newsmax has been great, actually, but you guys pick it up, but nobody's picking it up. They just don't want to talk about it, and it's a disgrace. The mainstream media, they don't even write stories about it. They don't talk about it on ABC, NBC, CBS. They don't want to talk about it. It's incredible. It would have been the biggest story 10, 15 years ago. This would have been when the Pulitzer Prize was legit, which right now with the Russia, where they give it to Russia, and they don't want to take it back, even though that's been proven to be wrong. But everybody would have had a Pulitzer Prize, right? Today, they don't want to talk about it. It is disgraceful. The most corrupt administration in history. He's a corrupt president.
The worst and the most corrupt administration in history. I think there's no question. I can, on every front, on every issue, you can clearly make the argument. And look, I'm going to get to this a little bit later. I want to start getting some calls, but there is now even more coming from these two very brave, courageous IRS whistleblowers. One is an anonymous one. The other one is Gary Shapley, who headed up a crack team of IRS criminal tax investigators. He is a longtime veteran of the IRS, one of the most credible people you can meet under oath. He now says there are 6 witnesses. 6. And now they're going to be interviewed, apparently, by the House Judiciary Committee under oath that say Merrick Garland and the DOJ directly interfered in the Hunter Biden investigation. They obstructed justice, and they were determined to let Hunter Biden walk. Why? Because they're covering up millions and millions and millions of dollars that they did not pay taxes on from illicit sources all over the world, from China, from Ukraine, Burisma, Romania, oligarchs left, right, and center that flowed into the pockets of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's brother Jim, and other members of the corrupt Biden crime family. So this story is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, yesterday, the story broke. Republicans now on Jim Jordan's House Judiciary Committee say they have the votes to start impeachment proceedings against Garland. So, Merrick Garland is in trouble. Christopher Wray is in trouble. If anyone begins to roll and turn on Biden, it's finished. It's over. So the walls are closing in on the corrupt Biden regime. And the media can try to protect them all they want. By the way, they're just discrediting themselves. Every day now that we get more and more and more damaging, really incriminating information, and they try to cover it up or ignore it or sweep it under the rug, it's now gotten to the point. I could play you the clips. I don't want to waste your time. Karine Jean-Pierre, talk to the lawyers. White House deputy press secretaries, talk to the lawyers. Anybody at the White House, talk to the lawyers. So when they're asked now about this massive IRS whistleblower scandal, now it's talk to the lawyers. The reason why talk to the lawyers? Because they can't defend it. Too many witnesses, too many whistleblowers, too many documents, too many text messages, too many emails. There's just now, you can't plug this dam. It's about to burst. And the Biden ship is going down. So, with all of this taking place, as Biden now implodes, as we predicted he would, and as Trump continues to rise, now they don't know what to do. Now, Jack Smith is their last play. Manufacture a bullcrap indictment, a BS indictment, and try to get him on some insane, legal, convoluted, contrived theory. We'll see if it works. Anything is possible in this age where our justice system has become weaponized. But as things stand with the American people and the voter, Trump is now, as Kevin McCarthy himself said, Trump is now stronger and more popular now than he was in 2016 when he stunned the world by defeating Hillary Clinton. So what they have ironically done is they have now empowered Trump and made him stronger, more popular than ever, because they've turned him into a martyr. 617-266-6868. Did you see the speech in New Hampshire? Can Trump win? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Trump delivers huge speech in Concord, New Hampshire. He landed here in Boston, Logan Airport. Traffic was a bit of a nightmare yesterday, if you noticed. They had to close off the O'Neill Tunnel, but luckily he made it there safe, made it back. But it was a barn burner of a speech. And what many people are commenting, at least the New Hampshire Republicans and conservatives that I spoke to, Trump now more confident, more defiant, frankly, at this point now, almost more energized than ever. He can sense a huge primary victory coming. And head-to-head now, polls show Biden will be destroyed by Trump in a rematch. 617-266-6868 is the number. So I want to ask all of you. Now, even the establishment is starting to ask this question openly. Can Trump make the ultimate comeback? Can he pull it off a second time? And what do you make now of this growing massive scandal, a dark cloud over Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Merrick Garland, the IRS whistleblowers? How much longer can the media keep this regime afloat? And you know what? Let's throw on even this log. What the hell? Trump says Biden is the worst, most corrupt administration in the history of the United States. I agree. Do you? Is Trump right? And ultimately, is this the reason why he now has a realistic chance, in fact, a very good chance, of beating Biden in the election and coming back to the White House? 617-266-6868. All of the indictments all of the persecution, all of the legalized witch hunt against him notwithstanding, are we witnessing now a potential second political miracle? 617-266-6868. Lines are blazing. Let's go to Larry in Leominster. You're going to kick us off, Larry. Thanks for holding, and as always, welcome.
Hey, Jeff, do you know if while Trump was in town, that fake Indian Elizabeth Warren's been in town too?
I don't know. Was she in town, Larry?
I don't know, but some fake Indian's doing a rain dance because it won't stop raining.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, my God.
No, Larry, apparently we're going to get more rain today, and we're going to get a ton of rain over the July 4th weekend.
Yeah, all week from what I hear. Yay.
Someone's got to call the chief. Someone's got to call Elizabeth Warren, a chief spreading bull. You got to work your magic, chief.
Oh, boy. So, a few observations. First and foremost, did you hear Biden lawyered up this week?
Yep. Oh, yeah, he has to.
A lot of people don't know that.
No,
yeah, but
right.
a lot of people don't realize.
Well, he has to. That's what I'm saying. The walls are closing in.
Right. Now, what is it? Is it Project 68 or Project 65? I'm not sure the name, but they admitted their goal is to make sure that Trump is denied due process by not letting any lawyer represent him.
That's right. Yeah, they want to intimidate, blackball, and blacklist any lawyer that defends Trump, saying it's career suicide. That if you defend him, you will never get a client again for the rest of your life. And they're going to try to push disbarment because you're apparently, by the way, they can defend an Al-Qaeda terrorist, and that's okay. But if you defend Donald Trump, you're defending a insurrectionist. You're defending a seditionist. So now they're trying to prevent him from getting good legal counsel and denying him due process.
All right. Now, as far as the primaries are over, they just are. Right. With that such a big gap, what could we possibly learn that we don't already know about President Trump? It's that whole dance with the one that brought you. What can we learn in these debates that we don't already know? DeSantis has an impossible. It's like trying to climb Mount Everest in the dead of winter naked. He's got an impossible task. He's got to be able to prove stuff that we don't already know about Trump and stuff that we don't know about him, and that he can do it better. Right?
Well, Larry, the only positive that I can see from doing a debate now is I would like to see how I'd like to see DeSantis and Trump go toe to toe. I just want to see, how does DeSantis handle himself with a political heavyweight like Trump and a ferocious debater like Trump? I'm just curious. I just want to see. I'm thinking more 2028. I'm thinking more down the road. But the other thing is, at this point, the debates to me are interesting. Who's going to be the VP? Because I got to say, Larry, there are some candidates there. Vivek Ramaswamy is one that jumps to mind right away. He's saying a lot of right things on the campaign trail. I want to see them in a debate. I want to see them with the back and forth, the cutting and the thrusting and and I want to see how do they hold up under pressure, under questioning. So I think it's more who's going to be the VP and who's eventually going to be the successor in 2028, and who would be good in a cabinet and who wouldn't be in a cabinet. So to me, that's the only appeal now of these debates. But your larger point, I agree with you, Larry. I think, look, anything can happen, health, who knows, something is said. I mean, politics, a year in politics is forever. But as things stand right now, Trump is, it's a cakewalk. He's running away with it, both in terms of the primary and in a head-to-head matchup with Joey. 651 on the great WRKO, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Donald Trump was up in New Hampshire and Concord yesterday, delivering an absolutely blistering, electrifying speech. A lot of local Republicans up in New Hampshire saying they've never seen the president this confident, this sure of himself. He has the wind at his back. The polls now show the Biden regime, by prosecuting and persecuting him, have now turned him, in fact, into a martyr. His numbers are even higher in the Republican primary than ever before. And in a national head-to-head matchup with Biden, Trump now, look, depending which poll, is up either 6 points or as many as 10 points. As things stand right now, Trump is poised to not only be the Republican nominee, but the next president of the United States. So, let me ask you, were you at the speech in New Hampshire? What did you make of the speech? The crowd, the energy, the feel? And Trump yesterday said that Biden is the most corrupt and the worst administration, the Biden regime, in the history of the United States. Do you agree? 617-266-6868 is the number. Mel in Saratoga. Thanks for holding, Mel, and welcome.
Yes, good morning, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
Hi, Mel.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Ray Charles can see that the Biden regime is the most corrupt political party or political administration this country's ever had. In regards to the IRS whistleblowers that are coming out against or that are bringing information to the forefront about this Biden crime family, that I always go back to Vinny the Chin Gigante. You know that's what I always do, because you look at Joe Biden, what he's amassed throughout his criminal career. You don't get that by being stupid. You don't get that by having dementia. All this act that this guy is putting on, because he knows that the walls are closing. They know the walls are closing in on them. And you cannot prosecute someone who's not mentally sound. So, I mean, I always go back. Not that, I hear you say that he's got dementia, but I'm not playing that card. I have the strong feeling all of this BS that he's playing is an act, because there's times, even when he speaks so coherently, and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but then there's other times when what you say they're shooting him up with this, shooting him up with that, and they're wearing off, and that's why he goes into that. No. As a New Yorker, I ain't buying none of that BS that this guy's got dementia. He knows exactly what he's doing, and all the act that he's putting on is to keep his backside out of prison, because that's where he's going to end up if he's more examined and he's found to be mentally fit to stand trial. He doesn't have a Chinaman's chance at wounded knee of beating the allegations or the charges that he'll have to face. And treason is at the top of the list. Well, and I
got to say this, Mel. I think you put your finger on something. What's now becoming obvious, and this is why the regime is now, and the liberals and the Democrats are getting really desperate to put Trump in jail, is they now know when Trump says, I'm taking down the corrupt political class, and I'm going to dismantle the deep state. In other words, he's going to destroy their power. And if he destroys their power, they're going to be completely unmasked and exposed. Biden knows if his crimes are made public, really public, where the overwhelming majority of the American people know exactly what he and Hunter and frankly many other politicians in Washington have been doing now for the last 30, 40, 50 years. They know they're going to prison. They know it. So they're not just fighting for their very power and for their money and their illicit wealth that they have stolen and amassed over decades of corruption. They're fighting now for their very lives. Trump is the sheriff who is now coming in and saying, no, we're going to clean up this town. And the outlaws, the bad guys, the outlaws, I'm going to start putting them in jail. This is Tombstone and he's Wyatt Earp. So this is why they're lashing out at Trump and people like me and there's very few of us left, few supporters in the media. because they know that unless they put him behind bars on these ridiculous manufactured, pardon the pun, trumped up charges, their boy Joey is going down. And so is Hunter, and so is the Biden crime family, and so is Obama, and so is Hillary, and so is Mitch McConnell, and so is all of them, Mitt Romney, Pelosi, all of them. Here, I was at my doctor's yesterday, okay, just a routine checkup, and he's not a very political guy. And even he's telling me, I can't believe how they're going after Trump. But then they give Hunter Biden gets a slap on the wrist. I mean, and this is my doctor, and the doctor said, I swear, I'm just, listening. I haven't said a word to the guy, just except nice to see you again. And he's saying, if I cheated on millions of dollars in taxes, if I illegally purchased a gun and dumped it in a garbage can in a school zone, he goes, Jeff, I'd be in prison for years. So this guy's degenerate son can break the law and get barely a slap on the wrist, but they're going after President Trump on documents? He goes, it's obvious they're out to get him. And they're out to get him. And he goes, I just began researching on my own. Pelosi, her husband, insider trading, lined the pockets. Mitt Romney, insider trading. He and his kids lined their pockets. He just says, I look at McConnell, I look at Pelosi, I look at Schumer, I look at all of these people, John Kerry, the Clintons. He just ran down the whole list. He goes, they come in poor and they leave what multimillionaires? They're all worth north of $100 million. They leave modern day oligarchs. So even my doctor is starting to wake up to it. And, he used to be a big lib. And he's like, I just decided to Google some of this stuff just on my own. Like, hey, Trump said this. Let me check it out. I'm like, oh, my God, it's true. Oh, my God, it's true. Oh, it is true. So that's where we stand. That's why they got to get him. Trump is back. And as he put it, this will be revenge and retribution. He's running on a mandate. His mandate is to drain the swamp, to clean house. He goes, look, you vote for me. I want you to know I'm dismantling the deep state. You vote for me. People are going to jail. So understand exactly what your vote for me means. Now they have to take him down. And Trump is the one saying, he goes, look, this is a final battle. He goes, one side will be standing and the other side will be destroyed and defeated. I hope it's me. I'm thinking it's me, but either they win or we win. There's no middle ground anymore. It's us or them. And we're fighting now for the heart and soul of our country. Thank you so much for that call, Mel, as usual. 617-266-6868. Mr. Garcia in New Jersey. Thanks for holding, Mr. Garcia, and welcome.
Oh, how you doing, Mr. Kuhner? Listen, let me tell you something, honest with you. Every liberal, every woman in Kuhner Report love you. I don't know how you do it. You have a sweet voice, but everybody love you, Mr. Kuhner. Yeah, I'm very proud. I know I'm going to make Sandy vomit, but you are the best. You are number one.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Garcia. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Garcia, I've got to ask you, liberals are now petrified. Speaking of vomiting, they're about to vomit because they can't believe how well Trump is doing in the polls. He was in New Hampshire yesterday, gave an absolutely superb speech, a very brave, courageous speech. I want to ask you, do you think he can come back all the way? Can he beat all the other Republicans, win the primary? And can he beat Biden? Can he come back to the White House, Mr. Garcia?
I want to ask you a question. How many percent we have Rhino, the Republican? How many percent? Maybe 60%? maybe 50% rhino. We never, how Trump going to run if we have over 50% rhino? He had to destroy the rhino right now. Forget the Democrat right now. The Democrat is already lost. But I want to know if Trump can destroy right now the rhino. That is number one. If he destroyed the rhino, we're going to be a perfect shape. If he's going to be quiet, he's going to respond to Rhino going to destroy Donald Trump more than the Democrat. That is the problem I have with the Rhino. And if you don't destroy the Rhino, he's not going to win at all. Or if he's going to win, but he's still going to destroy Donald Trump
that's a great
all the
point.
way.
No, that's a great point, Mr. Garcia. That is an excellent, excellent point, and thank you very much for that call. That's another reason why I want him in the debates, because you're right. He's going to have to wipe out the rhinos. Now, when you say they're 50% of the Republican Party or 60%, in terms of Congress, senators, members of Congress, the RNC, Ronna McDaniel, yes, they're very heavy on top, but not on the ground. In terms of actual voters, who actually really wants to vote for these people? The overwhelming majority of the electorate, the base of the party, is all in with Trump. What I'm recommending Trump do, now you may disagree with me, and that's what I want to ask all of you. There's going to be the first debate, the Republican primary debate, is going to be in August. Ronna McDaniel, and this is what she does, because she's doing her uncle's bidding, the Uber Rhino, Mitt Romney, Mittens, has asked Brett Baier, that never Trumper, will be the moderator. Now, Trump is saying, whoa, why should I go to a debate where I'm up by 40 points and it's going to be basically a trap where I'm going to have this never Trumper, Brett Baier, whose boss has given him the order, and everyone else, take down Trump. So why should I go to what's going to be an ambush? So Trump is now saying, if Brett Baier is going to be the moderator, count me out. So do you think Trump should go to that debate? That's going to be the first debate. What I would like to see him do is destroy the rhinos at these debates. Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, Mike Pence. I mean, just one after another, after another, after another. Just wipe them out. Wipe them out. And then landslide victory in Iowa, landslide victory in New Hampshire, landslide in South Carolina, landslide in Florida, the first 4 primary or caucus states, and then boom, the primary is over. So you destroy the rhinos, and then by winning this primary in such overwhelming, convincing fashion, in other words, your days are over. This is no longer John McCain's party. It's no longer George Bush's party. This is no longer the McConnell and the Romneys, and this is no longer your party anymore. This is now a full-fledged MAGA party. It's a populist, America First, conservative party. So I would very much like to see Trump just go scorched earth on these rhinos and obliterate them. Because once we remove them, then there's no stopping the MAGA movement. But that's just my opinion. 617-266-6868 is the number. Before I go to Mark in Medford, let me just quickly reset. Trump now, big speech in New Hampshire. Did you watch it? Did you see it? He's now, forget surging, he's exploding in the polls. First Republican debate is going to be in August. All of the candidates have said they will be there except Trump. Why? Brett Baier, Ronna McDaniel, has chosen Baier, Brett Boring, never Trumper, to be the moderator. Trump says this is an ambush. What am I getting out of this? What are the Republicans going to get out of this? and he's now saying he may not show up. Should Trump show up at the debate and participate, or should he boycott? I'm just curious, what say you? 617-266-6868 is the number. Mark in Medford. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I know I'm not going to speak to you after today, so I want to wish you and your family the happiest of 4th of July.
Oh, thank you, Mark. All the best to you and your family, my friend.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, I'm going to agree with you. Not only should Trump go to the debate, but he should go on the stage and make an announcement and say, you know what? I know I'm here. I know it's going to be an unfair debate against me, but I just want you and the American people to know that I'm only here tonight because, unlike everybody else on this stage, I actually care about every individual of the United States of America. Now, ask your questions.
Interesting. So in other words, Mark, you're saying he should go, but challenge the moderator, Brett Baer, Fox, right off the bat and say, I know you're going to come after me. I know this is a setup. I get it. But I'm not afraid. I'm not Joe Biden, who won't debate RFK. I'm not running from anybody. Here I am. Give me your slings and arrows. I can take it. You're saying, Mark, that would be a really good strategy for Trump?
I believe it would be, Jeff. But I got a couple of points for the reason for my call. But before I get to those points, if you allow me the time, I just want to make a public service announcement to everybody that listens to your show across this wonderful country. Just because the polls say Trump is running away with it against the Republicans, just because the polls say Trump is destroying Joe Biden head-to-head, does not mean sit on your ass and stay home on Election Day. So now, I want to point out last night Trump's speech and then last night the interview on CBS with the IRS agent. Even the dumbest liberal moonbat Democrat out there, doesn't even have to be a Democrat as far as I'm concerned, okay? If you can't see what is going on when this IRS agent said, if this was anybody else, and I quote, Jeff, these people would have done their time already for the crimes they committed and already been out of prison. He goes, we were prevented from doing our job against Hunter and Joe Biden. It's sickening when I heard that, Jeff. Absolutely freaking sickening.
Mark, I could not agree with you more. And I'm going to play some of that. That's Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower. I'm very concerned about his safety. Off the record, I've heard many people in Washington say the same thing. So, I mean, I can't name names, obviously, but I'm getting text messages from people I know and respect, and they're like, this guy's one brave dude. This guy, he's getting death threats. He's worried. Now, there's 6 other witnesses that are coming forward. 6. It's clear for anyone to see. 617-266-6868 is the number. Gibby in Boston. Thanks for holding, Gibby, and welcome.
Jeff. In all seriousness, if they cannot get him or the court stuff looks like it's not going to work, I would be really, really, really afraid of the ex-president doing one of these rallies, because he is playing with an awful lot of powerful people. And I mean, look at what happened when you crossed the Clintons. You have one guy end up in a dumpster. So I would be extremely, extremely cautious. And again, nothing against the Secret Service, but I would have a hand-picked group of guys around me, ex-military, that's taken his own protection force.
Oh, I agree. Gibby, I completely agree. Gibby, were you up I'm just curious, were you up in New Hampshire yesterday? Did you see the speech by any chance?
Yeah, I got there, but I got there a little bit late. It was standing there. Jeff, I've never seen lines the way, and the weather wasn't all that great, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. No, Gibby, that's exactly what you just told me is exactly what I heard from a lot of people who went, saying, Jeff, the crowds are insane. If anything, he's more popular now than he's ever been. Look, you know me, Gibby. I'm not a big McCarthy guy. I'm not a big McCarthy fan, so I don't normally quote him. But I think on this, a stop clock is right twice a day. I think McCarthy on this is right. He goes, look, McCarthy says, I travel around the country. I have to. I got to raise money. I got to do things for people's districts, for Republicans. He goes, I'm telling you, Trump is stronger and more popular now than he was in 2016. So the irony is, you're right. The other side loathes him, hates him. They see him as a mortal existential threat. And that's why I agree with you. He's got to be very careful about his security and about his public appearances, because I wouldn't put anything past them. That's how much they hate him and fear him. But if you look at the grassroots, his numbers are now through the roof. Gibby, realistically, we're now at 85, 90 million. Now that's unheard of. 75 million was massive. We're looking at 85, 90 million. Many Democrats are starting to say, dump Biden. You got to dump him now, because we can't win with this guy. We can't. Because if they go the route that you're suggesting, that, hey, we may have to JFK this guy, once you do that, the country may blow. So it's very high risk for them. They're sweating like crazy. And Gibby, I've got to tell you, I've noticed it in my emails that I get from crazy libs. The hatred, it was always bad. Don't get me wrong. I've been here over 10 years. But Gibby, I'm telling you, the hatred now that I'm getting, the number of emails, text messages, the viciousness, the maliciousness, the insanity of the attacks, the raw hatred and desperation. There's a lot of haters out there, Gibby. And I'm thinking, if they hate me this much, my God, how much do they hate Trump? And it just takes one. All you need, Gibby, is just one. And they get by security and your life is over.
Yeah, think about it. Look at all the infiltration that they had at these rallies with these FBI plants. What's to stop either the CIA or here's another thing to think of, because China is going to take it really on the chin the way they did in his first term. What if the CCP hires a mercenary to take and come in and pop them?
Gibby, you're right, but I would go even further than that. I think you have a lot of people in very powerful positions, from the FBI to the CIA to the Biden regime to frankly, even many powerful Republicans. Mitch McConnell, Exhibit A. They can't afford to have their ties, their treasonous links to the Chinese Communist Party exposed. So they would have to get rid of Trump, not just on behalf of their masters, the Chinese, the communist Chinese, but to save them. So he and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are the two bravest men right now in the United States. Okay, my friends, the reason why liberals, Democrats, you can now sense the fear, the hatred, frankly, the derangement, and it is now clearly Trump derangement syndrome. The desperation is because of all of the mountain of new evidence that is coming out, which is now showing beyond the shadow of a doubt that Merrick Garland is a criminal. The Attorney General of the United States committed crime after crime. He interfered in an investigation. He obstructed it. And not only that, he gave preferential favorable treatment to the president's son, Hunter Biden, that loser. And now we know Joe Biden himself is directly implicated in the Biden family pay-to-play influence peddling scheme involving bribery, corruption, payoffs, and yes, treason. Listen now to FBI whistleblower Gary Shapley on CBS News. So the walls are starting to close in now on Biden. It may be some in the media are saying we've got to throw Joey overboard because Trump is going to win. Listen now to Shapley saying, and by the way, 14-year veteran, he is one of the crackerjack IRS investigators. He leads a team of 12 IRS criminal investigators, the top 12 best investigators for international financial crimes at the IRS. So this is not some Joe Schmo. Listen to him saying, if it was any other person but Hunter Biden, not only would he been arrested, indicted, and sentenced to jail, but he would have been in prison already and probably been out by now. Instead, they slow-walked it, and then they ultimately made sure he got away scot-free. Roll cut 10, Mike.
If this was any other person, they likely would have already served their sentence. There were personal expenses that were taken as business expenses. Prostitutes, sex club memberships, hotel rooms for purported drug dealers.
How much did Hunter Biden owe in taxes?
So from 2014 to 2019, it was $2.2 million.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. It's a forgive me, it's a freaking bordello. I mean, what are they running I'm sorry, but you know the term white trash? This whole family is pure white trash. I mean, they're running a brothel. It's like a crime family. So sex clubs that he deducted from his taxes, prostitutes, drug dealing. He owed $2.2 million in taxes. By the way, he hasn't paid that back, and he's not being asked to pay it back. Listen now to Shapley saying, I documented all of this. David Weiss, the U.S. attorney, was not allowed to press charges on any of this. He wanted them to take it out of Delaware so he could take it to Washington or California, other districts where Hunter Biden operated in, so I could charge him there. But they blocked that. Then Shapley said Weiss asked to be a special counsel so he could have independence from the DOJ and Merrick Garland, and they blocked that. He had his marching orders. Hunter must walk out a free man. Whatever you do, it's only a slap on the wrist and nothing more. Roll cut 11, Mike.
I documented exactly what happened, and it doesn't seem to match what the Attorney General or the U.S. Attorney are saying today. It was just shocking to me.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, under oath, this is where Merrick Garland's in big trouble. All of what he said about how this was going to be an independent, impartial investigation, no interference from him, that David Weiss would be he's the ultimate charging authority. He can charge Hunter with whatever he wants in whatever jurisdiction he wants. He said this under oath in April, under oath. That's perjury, my friends. That's perjury. They've got him 6 ways to Sunday. So, Now Shapley has come up 6 more witnesses who were present in the room when David Weiss, the U.S. attorney, was saying, I'm powerless. I can't do anything. This is all Merrick Garland. Garland and Chris Wray are running the show on behalf of Joey. And I can't get him for these more serious felonies. They're not allowing me to charge him on these more serious felonies. They're even preventing us from investigating. Listen to this. They found mountains of evidence that led straight to Joe Biden. That Biden was the mastermind, obviously, and that he was using his son as the bagman. And guess what? They were explicitly told, quote unquote, lay off the big guy. They even refer to him within the administration as the quote unquote big guy. Lay off Joe Biden. Roll cut 12. Mike.
There were certain investigative steps that we weren't allowed to take that could have led us to President Biden.
And you wanted to take them.
We needed to take them.
And you weren't allowed to take them.
That's correct.
He can't get out of this. If you want it, this is the problem now. It's a vice grip. He can't get out of it. Now, in terms of the law, he may skate. He may skate. They control the corrupt Department of Justice. They control the corrupt FBI. We'll see how much of the media turns. CBS, that's a big crack, but we'll see. But it doesn't matter because of shows like this and because of the alternative media and because of the internet and because of Twitter, thanks to Elon Musk, this is getting out there. It just is. It's dribbling out there. That's why Biden's poll numbers are in a free fall. It's getting so bad, they're even asking now in the White House press corps. They're asking. This was yesterday. White House Deputy Press Secretary Olivia Dalton. And they're asking, well, hold on. Is Merrick Garland lying? Is he clearly now abusing power and obstructing justice? And this is supposed to be the Attorney General? Listen to her non-answer. Very telling. Roll cut 13. Mike.
The follow-ups on last week. Does the White House believe Attorney General Garland committed perjury when he testified under oath that Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss could bring charges outside his district?
I don't have any comment on this. Anita? Go ahead.
Within 10 days of...
Stephen, I'm moving on. Anita?
Yeah, I'm moving on. Moving on. No comment. I'm moving on. So they won't even deny it now. Think about that. They won't even say, no, we're defending Merrick Garland. No, he didn't lie. Now it's talk to the lawyers. Move on. I'm moving on. We're going to talk to the lawyers. Biden, Joe Biden, forget Hunter. Joe Biden is now lawyered up. He's got a lawyer now because it could be his rear end in the sling. So, look, the walls are closing in. It is very, very, very obvious. Now, before I go back to the phone lines, I need to address something. As you know, I've been on the air now for over 10 years. And I get my share of hate mail. It comes with the job. Honestly, it doesn't bother me. I really don't care. I have noticed now, but the last 6 months, especially the last 3 months, with Trump surging again, with me defending Trump from these bogus indictments, with me leading the charge on this radical transgender agenda that they're trying to ram down our throats, that the hatred towards the Kuhner man has escalated. And they're coming after my wife. They're now attacking my children. And I just want my haters to know, all you haters, pathetic losers. 617-266-6868 is the number. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Thanks for holding, Arthur, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Joe Biden did it again. He confessed to selling secrets. It's been played on Newsmax a few times. He was at some kind of conference with people, and he just blurted out that has been selling secrets I'm sure you have a cut of this.
Yeah, Arthur, we played it yesterday, Arthur. It was at a meeting with the Indian Prime Minister and CEOs of these big tech companies. And you're right, he just blurted it out. He just can't keep his mouth shut.
Well, we're grateful for that, but on what you were discussing before with regards to the debate, I don't think you should show up on that date. I think one thing I've learned in life is you don't help your enemies, okay? And all that's going to be on that stage is nothing but enemies and enemies of this country, and especially the Brett Baer. Second of all, what I would do on that day is hold a fundraiser for disabled veterans, and all on the same day. And I think you'd get more mileage out of that, and do a good cause, and show the kind of guy he is. Second of all, one of the things that disgusted me is the way that we lost that Wisconsin election because we were outspent. And Ronna McDaniel admitted, oh, well, we were outspent like no big deal. And she was, pointed out that she was corrupt, that she's been doing nothing but spending money on limousines herself and private jets. And the last time I saw her on Fox, she looked like she just had a makeover and exactly what she's been accused of. How could you possibly go pick her over Mike Lindell, who's the champion of conservative politics today? He's next to Trump. He's the biggest hero that we have.
Arthur, let me just go back to I agree with you. I like Mike Lindell a lot. He's done great work for this country, no question about it. Arthur, but I want to go back to your second point on Brett Baer, the Fox debate, the first one for the Republican primary candidates, and they're all going to be there, except Trump says he may not show up, and you're thinking it's a good move on his part not to show up. Let me just play devil's advocate, Arthur. What do you say to the argument that if Trump doesn't show up, he comes across like he's ducking the debate, that he's got something to hide, that he's afraid to be challenged, to debate DeSantis, debate Mike Pence about January 6th, debate Chris Christie, who's taunting and challenging him, that he's afraid of Brett Baer? What do you say to that argument, Arthur?
Thing that we do know about Donald Trump, he's not afraid of anybody. But finally, he's standing up to these ridiculous forums that the Republican Party has put up with, election after election after election. How many times did you say, "What the hell? How is it possible that we never get a moderator that's fair to us?" Well, finally, he's standing up, and he's the only guy that could stand up. And you want to know something? If Trump shows up for that debate, there'll be 30 million people watching. If he doesn't show up, there'll be the families of the people on the stage. That's it. Nobody's going to watch. And if he's giving a speech and trying to collect money for disabled veterans, he'll draw 10 times more than the people that are going to watch that debate. And he'll be the one who gets his message across and send a message to them. It's time that we stood up to phonies like Ronna McDaniel. You know that a lot of the heads of the Republican Party, they wind up on MSNBC and CNN too.
Yeah, or Fox News. No, you're right. You're completely right, Arthur. They're auditioning to get TV gigs. That's what this is all about, media gigs. Arthur, thank you very much for that call. No, look, let me throw it out there. Should Trump send a message to Fox News? In other words, Brett Baer, he's a hatchet man for Murdoch, Rupert Murdoch. That's his job. And he's been a leading never Trumper. Chris Wallace, I think, was the worst. He's now gone. But after Chris Wallace, it was Brett Boring. So, Trump's going to say, what? I'm going to stand here and give ratings to Fox News? And give credibility to a guy like Brett Baer? No, blank you. I'm not going to help Fox. So maybe Trump should turn around and say, I'll do a debate. Do it with Tucker Carlson. Do it on Newsmax. Do it on a different forum. Why do I always got to play the rules, the rules and the game established by the establishment and by the destroy Trump media? So, in other words, should Trump say, I want a different venue, different forum, different moderator, I'm not showing up? Or should he show up? I'm just curious. Will he then be tagged as someone who's a chicken, who's afraid to take the questions from Bret Baier, or to be challenged by DeSantis or Pence or Chris Christie or the others? 617-266-6868. Mags in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Mags. And as always, welcome.
Jeff, and as always, God bless you, God bless your family, and His name always keep you safe.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Max.
Because we appreciate you, Jeff, more than you know. I wanted to say that Ronna McDaniels, in my opinion, is an enemy of the Republican Party. Okay? How she ever got back is a disgrace. Okay? Because she's just like the rest of the treasonous criminals that are in the government and in the White House, as far as Joey is concerned. And they're getting away with it, and her too. I think she has hurt our party. I think she's a rhino Republican, just like Sununu, just like Mitch McConnell, just like all the people that we can name, Jeff. And my thoughts are this. So now all of this is coming out about Joey, okay? And we already know his whole family of criminal, treasonous, people. And we also know that he is surrounded by criminal, treasonous government officials, FBI, CIA. I can't even keep on going on about it because, honestly, it makes me sick to my stomach. There are more of us than there are of them. And I have to believe that at some point we have got to do something. Because if one of us had ever committed what Joey just on air admitted to, okay, which is like complete treason, we wouldn't be here anymore, okay? And why he is still in the White House, still representing our country, is pathetic and disgusting. Absolutely. And I know there are other people that feel the same way as I do. And as far as Trump doing the debate, I hate Bret Baier. But in all honesty, Trump has to do every single debate, and he knows exactly how to do it and the way to do it. And I believe in Trump, and I just hope that God blesses us and our great America, and we survive these treasonous criminals. Because
we've got 18 months.
To get rid of them.
Yeah, no, well, I guess less than 18 months now, but we've got to hang on. Mags, did you go to Concord? I'm just curious. Were you at the rally? Or were you not able to make it?
I wish I was. To be honest with you, I love to tell you this, but Kirsten was there and got to actually meet Trump. Okay? So, which was really great. There are pictures of her. I'll send them to you on Facebook.
Now,
Jeff.
Mags, what I'm hearing from my people who attended, they said it was packed, lines everywhere, tremendous energy, excitement, optimism, enthusiasm. It's not what the media is portraying at all, that he's demoralized, his supporters are depressed. What I'm hearing from everybody was the exact opposite. That he's on a roll, he's surging in the polls, and they think now they can't stop him. Well, what did your friend tell you? What was the feel like at the event yesterday?
So exciting, Jeff, because everybody knows that Trump's going to win, no matter what. Everybody is so excited about Trump. They were waiting for him at the airport. They were everywhere. They were all over Manchester. People were so excited. You could see it. I have tons of pictures that were sent to me because unfortunately I wasn't able to go. But people were everywhere. New Hampshire is definitely for Trump. Sununu can say what he wants because he's a rhino. But everybody in this country, there are more people, Jeff, that I have talked to. You know I'm in sales. I'm all over the place. And honestly, I have seen more people come back to me and say, you know what, I'm for Trump. And you know they're liberals, but they know that we're a hurting country, and they know that things are not good. So they're coming around to Trump, and they're just like, oh, we don't like what he says, his tweets. Well, Trump has changed. Trump is much more presidential. He's showing the country what he's about. And you know what, Jeff? What I love about Trump is he loves us, and he loves great America. He's the one that loves our country. Truly loves our country.
He's proving it now. I mean, he really is. These indictments and how they're trying to put him in prison and the threats that he's facing, and look at the enemies and how he's just fearlessly fighting them. I mean, he's got our back. We're going to have his back. Mags, as always, thank you so much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you've heard Mags. She a strong Trump supporter, but she says he's got to do that debate with Bret Baier. She doesn't like Bret Baier. She doesn't like Fox News and what they've turned into. But Trump should do every single debate, to wipe the floor with his opponents, destroy and obliterate the rhinos, and to show that he's not afraid, that he'll take on all comers. Agree, disagree. Trump is now threatening Ronna McDaniel, or whatever, telling her. Threatening, I think, is a bit of a strong word. But basically, he's warning Ronna McDaniel, if Bret Baier's the moderator, no thanks. It's an ambush. And I'm not going to show up. Now, Arthur in Chestnut Hill is correct. If Trump is at the debate, you're going to have tens of millions of people watching. Guaranteed. If Trump is not at the debate, you'll have almost nobody watching. With Trump, it's a show. It's an event. Without him, they get no oxygen, no airtime. So, should Trump debate in August? It's the first debate. McDaniel has now set it up. She scheduled it. And she's picked Bret Baier of Fox, never Trumper. Rupert Murdoch has given the order. He wants Trump defeated, not just in the general. He doesn't want Trump to be the Republican standard bearer. So he has a job. Bret Baier's job is to take out Trump. Should Trump go, or is it an ambush? 617-266-6868 is the number. Ron in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Ron, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff. And I want to thank you for taking my call so that I could have a minute on the best conservative talk show in the country, and I'm a little nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous, Ron. You're among friends. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that when Comer started his investigation, and he was getting all the stuff from the whistleblowers, and as far as Jim Jordan goes as well, I started to formulate in my wicked conservative mind that there's a lot more here than impeachment for failure to pay taxes and failure to do this and the corruption. You know what I'm thinking, Jeff? The RICO Act.
Oh.
And you know why, Jeff? Let me explain just a little bit more. If we start shaking that tree, Jeff, we don't have to worry about who's going to vote for impeachment. You know it's going to die in the Senate. But there's going to be a lot of apples that fall, Jeff. How about Bubba Linsky? You can't forget about him. That was real-time conversations with Joe E. And everything that's gone down through the deposits of money and transfers of money, that's RICO. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not an attorney. But is that not a RICO violation?
No, it's definitely, no, it's conspiracy, it's racketeering, it's RICO. And, you know, I love it. Oh, my God, Ron, I love it. And RICO was used primarily to break the power of the mob. What are we witnessing now but a political mafia? 617-266-6868 is the number. Roman in Boston.
I admire your courage for doing what you do every single day. And I pray for you and your family every single day.
Thank you. Thank you, Roman. I appreciate it.
To the point, I don't think that Trump should take the debate stage. I believe that it is beneath him at this point. In 2016, he went out and he's a fantastic debater. And there's no doubt in my mind he would wipe the field in August. But I believe it's beneath him because it's a political hit job. Chris Christie, he's not even going to carry 1%. Oh, he's there for one purpose, and that's to bludgeon Trump. That's all they want to do. And when we all know, we don't need to see him on the stage, in my opinion, because we know what he's done. And it's all out in the open anyway, what they're going after him for. There's nothing they can say on that debate stage that hasn't already been said. I think you should have a massive rally somewhere with a big open space, like in Texas or, Montana or somewhere, and have 1 million people there on that very night. And like Arthur in Chestnut Hill said, just maybe 14 people will watch the debate, and everyone will be watching.
Well, Roman, let me ask you this, since you mentioned it. Let's say Trump doesn't do it. Let's say for whatever reason, and holds a rally, or even if he doesn't hold a rally, just for the sake of argument, will you watch or do you not care?
Okay, my mind's made up as to who I'm voting for. This debate is, even if Trump goes or if he doesn't go, all it is an audition for Trump to see who he wants in cabinet positions. That's what I think. It's basically a job interview. He possibly could pick a vice president or secretary of state, or he possibly could pick, another cabinet member out of that field. Ramaswamy's very good. I think DeSantis would be good too. Even as a vice president, if you wanted to do it, or something else. But I think Trump blows his field away. He blows the field away. And that's what bothers me. They're going to have to either jail him or, like you had said, unfortunately, I don't even like to mention this, but this is something.
We know what you mean. No, Roman, I don't want to, because a lot of people are saying, come on, Jeff, don't give people ideas. So we know, whatever. Just, potential violence. Let's just leave it at that. No, Roman, look, you're dead on. He's blowing the field away. The polls now show he's destroying Biden head to head. Many people have voters' remorse. They don't want to vote for Biden a second time. Either they'll stay home or they're going to vote for Trump. So he's going to win in a landslide. Thank you very much for that call, Roman. Good call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, it's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Kelly Financial Services. Now that we know the first Republican primary debate is going to be on Fox, moderated by Brett Boring, Ultra Rhino. You want to talk about the voice of the establishment? It's Brett Baer. So with Brett Baer as the moderator, should Trump go and participate in the debate? Yes or no? What do you think? You can make an argument both sides. Roman made one very good argument for one side. There's no point. It's basically a political or a journalistic hit job. Trump is running away with this thing. So why bother? Why give Fox the airtime, the oxygen, the credibility? And Trump should just sit it out. And if he wants, watch to see who's a good potential VP or member of his cabinet. Others, like Mags, says he needs to show up, obliterate the field, and show that he can take the slings and arrows so that no one can accuse him of being afraid or ducking DeSantis or ducking questions. So, I'm just curious. Yes or no? Which side are you on? Should Trump participate in that first Republican primary debate? You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner. And as always, you can vote via Twitter. Our handle there, @The Kuhner Report. Your calls next. 617-266-6868 is the number. Dane in the great state of South Dakota. Thanks for holding, Dane, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Absolutely not. President Trump might as well stand in front of a firing squad, okay? And President Trump is not afraid of any debate he goes to. He just wants a even playing field, okay? Brett Baer is nothing but a member of the Beltway Boys Club. He's no better than Chrissy Wallace, okay? Instead, what President Trump should do, in my opinion, is do a fundraiser for Operation Underground Railroad Rescue for Children, portrayed by Tim Ballard in the new movie coming out this 4th of July weekend, sound of freedom. That would be the answer for the debate. The same time, do it the same time that they're doing debate and raise millions and millions of dollars for children who are being trafficked. It's a shame what's happening. 2 million people a year. This would be the solution for President Trump, doing something effective and helping children who he was a big cause of. He was the person who was stopping it, and Biden that you know what, put a stop to all this. And now we have millions of children being trafficked again when Trump put a stop to it. So that's my answer. And I think President Trump, absolutely, we waste the time, especially with Brett Baer. This guy is so phony. He just makes me sick. And he might as well just bring back Chris Wallace to do the debate if you want to do that way. So there's the answer.
Dane, let me just play again devil's advocate. What do you say the argument, for example, Biden doesn't want to debate RFK. He's avoiding RFK. He won't even do one debate with RFK. And apparently it's really hurting him in the polls. RFK is now gaining in Iowa. He's gaining in New Hampshire. It's getting to the point now he's cracking 30%, which is incredible since there's a media blackout on him. And part of it is people are saying, what is Biden so afraid of? Now, let's just flip it to Trump. What do you say to the argument? If we criticize Biden for dodging RFK, why aren't we criticizing Trump for dodging, say, Ron DeSantis or dodging Brett Baer or dodging anyone else that will be on that debate stage? What say you?
Apples and oranges. That's what I say. I'll tell you why. Because guess what? He doesn't have to go through these phony dog and pony shows that the Republican McDaniels puts up, and they're dog and pony shows. They're ridiculous. They're a waste of time. We know what you want to do a debate. Get a decent moderator in there. This guy is as real as he's not real. Period. There's my answer.
Oh, you're right. He's as phony as a $2 bill. No, I'm with you, Dane. I'm completely with you. Dane, thank you very, very much for that call. And I think really, let's be honest, the big reason why they don't want Biden debating Kennedy is because Biden's demented. He's gone. I mean, it's just the now. That was one, by the way. Speaking of my doctor, who I really shouldn't be. Poor guy. I don't want to be, doctor client, doctor patient privilege. But he's like, Biden doesn't want to debate RFK because he goes, RFK will destroy him. And Biden's dementia is going to be exposed to the entire country and the entire world. He's going to be standing there with his eyes like a beetle. That's malarkey. That's malarkey. Honest to God. That's the truth. Honest to God. No joke. No joke. Come on, man. I mean, he's going to be a bumbling idiot for a whole hour. That's another reason why they don't want RFK to debate him. Because just one 1 hour debate, and Biden is finished. 617-266-6868. Eddie in Maine. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Eddie?
Oh, very good, thank you. This is Eddie, Sebago Lake, Maine.
Well, I was going to say, I was getting a little worried because you always, when you call, you introduce yourself, Eddie, Tobago Lake, Maine. And today was just, hi, it's Eddie. And I'm like, what happened at Tobago Lake?
I'm there, not beach weather, but I'm there. I want to ask you a couple of quick questions, if I may.
Yes.
If Biden really feels threatened, and he's going to, can he pardon everybody in his family and everybody related to the Russia collusion?
Yep.
And if my big concern, I voted for Trump, no way, and nobody else. I voted for him twice already. But my big concern with President Trump is who he picks for a vice president. Because you see 4 years go by a blink of an eye, and then if we get another Biden elect, he'll erase everything he does. And another question, if Trump is so far ahead in the polls, why can't he set up his own debate with Newsmax and pick the narrator he wants? You got Eric Bolton, Rob Smith.
No, I agree. Really, seriously, look. We have a massive audience. I know you're up in Tobago Lake, Maine, but we have a we have a lot of people in Maine who listen to this show. We got a huge audience in New Hampshire. I mean, it's massive. It's vast. Go to New Hampshire, Kuhner, man. I'm more than happy to, I'll host a debate. Sandy can testify to this. I am extremely fair. I am fair to everybody. So I'll get Tucker. Okay, you don't want me? That's fine. Tucker Carlson, let him host a debate. You know, I agree with you. I would like some of these people, moderators, to be from Newsmax. But I'm just saying, if he doesn't want to do Newsmax, okay, just plenty of very good moderators that could really give people a really good debate. And I know Trump would show up because, frankly, he excels at debates. He does very well in debates. Now, Eddie, this is me. And again, I'm a little bit of a news junkie and a political nerd and a bit of a political geek when it comes to these things. Even if Trump doesn't do the Fox News primary debate, I will still watch for exactly the reason why you're asking. I want to see who's good vice presidential timber. I want to watch to see, hey, you know, because it's one thing to say something on the campaign trail or do a media hit, but I want to see them now kind of in the lion's den, taking questions, debating one another. How do they respond to criticism? How do they rebut? Just, you get a better sense of someone. So even if Trump doesn't show up, I will watch to see who would be a good potential vice presidential running mate. Now, I like Carrie Lake a lot. She's not going to be there, obviously. But, you know, I do want to look at DeSantis. He's going to be with the big boys now. I want to see how he does. I want to look at Nikki Haley. I want to look at Vivek Ramaswamy. There are others out there that I say, let me give them a good, hard look as a potential VP. So I would watch it for that. But, you know, I understand if most people don't want to watch it. Because, honestly, there's nothing much to watch. Eddie, as always, thank you so much for that call. Jeremy in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Jeremy, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's nice to be back again. This is third or fourth time I've been with you, so very, very honored. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you. Jeremy, so tell me, did you go, since you're from New Hampshire, did you go to the event yesterday with Trump, the rally?
Well, yeah, so I run LFA TV here in New Hampshire, and we were special invites. You know, now that we're, you know, exclusive with Rumble, you know, there's not too many places that are fair and kind to Trump, even some of the alternative media. So we were invited, and, you know, I got to have some great conversation with him. My whole team that was there with me had to have some great conversation with him. And I got to tell you, you know, it was very 2016 reminiscent. You know, the energy, the new car smell that we all got that we couldn't get away from. But there was
Jeremy,
other.
Can you do me a favor? Jeremy, I'm up against a hard break. I want to come right back to you. We'll be right back. Couple minutes. We're going to go back to Jeremy. Okay, let's go right back to Jeremy in New Hampshire. Jeremy, you were making the point. You met with Trump yesterday. You were at the event in New Hampshire. It was electric. It felt like 2016. Jeremy, I'm just curious. How did the president seem to you personally? Did he seem demoralized? Did he seem down or depressed because of the indictments and the weaponization of the justice system to get him? Or did he seem positive, upbeat, and confident?
He's actually I've never seen him more upbeat and confident in my life. And as a matter of fact, you know, he actually welcomes these indictments. Does he want them? No, but he understands what they're doing, and I think he understood that years ago too when he decided to leave and come back. And I think what we've seen for the last 2.5 years or 2 years, whatever it's been, is just exposing a lot of the stuff that we would not have exposed. I mean, you got to look at the glass half full, right? We'd had 4 more years of greatness, but I think we would have been kicking the can down the road, to be honest with you. And I think Trump agrees with that. And I think he knew that this kind of, you know, it was unfortunate that it happened, but it needed to happen. And I've never seen the man more vigor, more life in him, more life in his eyes, happy, strong. I mean, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. And by the way, going back to what you were saying with the vice presidential, you want to see who's got what, maybe who could be a vice presidential pick. I can tell you right now, none of those people on that stage are going to be. Least of all, Ron DeSantis. Trump would pick Ron DeSantis last. He's not going to allow the establishment or anybody to pick his vice president for him anymore. And not a single one of those people that's on that stage that he's going to skip that debate will be one of those people. And from what I hear, he's vetting Kristi Noem and Carrie Lake. So I guess we'll see.
Interesting. I'm just curious, Jeremy, have the last 2.5 years, because you made, I think, to me, a very provocative and really interesting point. You know, in some ways, maybe it's better. In a way, you're right. Had Trump won and then had served out his second term, well, we wouldn't know so much what we know now. By everything that's now been exposed about the FBI, the DOJ, our CIA, we're much wiser. Everybody knows more. Have you changed yourself in the last couple of years in terms of what you've seen and what now what's it? In other words, has it opened your eyes? Are you a different person now than you were in 2020?
Well, I mean, in many ways, yes. I mean, with my journey with Jesus, definitely. So knowing and understanding that we should pray for trials like this, we should pray for, hard times like this, because hard times make strong men. But you also you learn yourself a lot that, what mistakes you made, as a person individually, this, that, and the other. However, back when Trump ran the first time, I helped with the campaign and I was doing music at the time. I was performing. We were doing rallies. We did everything we could to get the guy elected. And I think that's what you're going to see again in 2016. All the, the division, and even in the MAGA supporting, 80 million of us, you're going to see us all come together again. So back then I was just a guy wanting this guy to be president. I had a few talents. I used them. It was great. But since then, I was on, national news shows with my own, or national news networks with my own show, and then started my own TV network. So now looking at it from a journalistic or a reporter point of view and learning what you learn, like the stuff you've learned over the last 10, 15 years, Jeff, you get a different insight when you're digging into it 24 hours a day. So to answer your question, yes, I've changed, but only in growth. Not only for support for President Trump, but my understanding of this nation, how screwed up this nation really is, and my journey with Jesus. And I think a lot of people out there have had that same growth. I mean, we speak to hundreds of thousands a week, our audience, and they are all experiencing that same spiritual growth, because I think we now know that in order to make America great again, you need to make America godly again. And overturning Roe v. Wade was the turning point.
Oh, amen. Amen, amen, amen. Jeremy, great call. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. Okay, so Jeremy was there yesterday, spoke to the president. He's upbeat, he's confident, defiant, very optimistic. He can read the polls. He's got internal polls. They're showing the same thing. Massive surge. This indictment against him, or from Bragg first and now Jack Smith, these indictments blowing up in their face. Trump now stronger than ever. Many are now looking at him as a martyr. They've turned him into a martyr. The crowds are as big as they were, if not bigger, in 2016. 617-266-6868. Pat in Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks for holding, Pat, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. It's been a long time since I called. I need to just ask you a question.
Yes.
If President Trump, which I don't think he will, did get arrested, or if for some reason he can't get nominated to run for president, do you think it'd be a good idea he have one of his sons or his daughter-in-law do so? Because people love them just as much as they love Donald Trump.
Well, Pat, not to quibble, but he's already been arrested. That was so outrageous about the indictment. But if he's convicted, if they get him on one of these bogus charges and they put him behind bars, my honest opinion, like I'm in the confessional, I think he's going to get 100 million votes. I think the country's going to go berserk. I think people are going to be livid like they've never been livid in their lives. I think even many independents, many moderate Democrats are going to say, what kind of a country are we descending into? And out of sheer defiance, because now we're talking democracy. Literally, democracy is at stake if they're going to pull the lever for Trump. So he will win in November with probably the biggest victory in the history of the democratic world, and then he can pardon himself. But let's just play out the scenario. They put him behind bars. That's what they're going to try to do. Then, I don't know, because they're going after his business. So the problem is now they're going after Ivanka, although they had charges against her thrown out yesterday, but they're going after his sons, Eric and Don Jr. So the problem with relying on the children is, to be frank, they're going to put his children in jail. Now, they know that's his Achilles heel. By the way, that's what they do in communist countries. They don't just go after you, they go after your family. And the reason why, by the way, I don't want to get sidetracked with this, but the Catholic Church, this is one of their arguments they always make against priests getting married. Because priests or bishops or cardinals, you're supposed to be willing to die for your faith, willing to die for your church, willing to die for your congregants. Well, one of the arguments that's been made, and you saw this under communism, was, yeah, you can persecute me, you can threaten me, you can jail me, you can torture me, you can threaten my life. But my marriage is to the church or to Jesus. It's not to a wife. It's not to, so you can't hold my wife and my children against me. I'm telling you, Pat, if you wanted to break Jeff Kuhner, and I'm not a tough guy, I really am not. But if you're threatening my wonderful wife and my 2 beautiful kids, that's how you would break the Kuhner man. That's my Achilles heel. And so they know how much he loves his children. He adores Ivanka, but now his sons have really rallied to him. They've actually gotten much closer as a family. So he loves his children, and they're going after his children. So that's another reason why, to be frank, I want a good debate, because I want to see a number 2 just in case as an insurance policy. Because my fear is if they do go all the way and put Trump in prison, then, and this is a question I want asked, will you pardon Donald Trump? God forbid it should get to that point, and we have to go to a plan B. Will you pardon Donald Trump? And Vivek Ramaswamy has said yes. He's the only one so far that has said yes. Ron DeSantis says he'll cross that bridge when he gets to it. Others, like Chris Christie, have said no, they want him to rot in jail. But I want that question asked. It needs to be asked, and it needs to be answered. Pat, I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's the best I can come up with.
But there's just one thing I was wondering, though. Do you think the way the Democrats have been on President Trump, well, of course, for 6 years or so, if they figure they just go ahead and let Donald Trump go ahead and run for president, he's only going to be in there 4 years. If they put him in jail and they get one of his sons or Lara Trump in there, they got a Trump in there for another 8 years.
That's right. No, that's right.
You know,
that's
so
right.
It's like,
No, Pat, look, Pat, I'll be very candid with you. I'm worried about Don Jr., I'm worried about Lara Trump. I'm worried about Eric Trump. I'm worried about the whole Trump clan. They're going after the Trump organization. They're going after it hard. They're leaving no stone unturned. They want the children indicted. They want the children in jail, and they want Trump to lose his billions. They want to bankrupt the Trump organization. Like when Trump says this is a fight to the finish, he's not kidding. Like it's not a figure of speech. Now, in no free democratic society do you do that to your political opponent. But that's what they're doing. That's why I'm so outraged, frankly. Like, I've changed in the last couple of years. I've really changed. And God is my witness, Pat. My wife has been calling it from the beginning. I'm afraid to talk to her because I'm like, I don't want to know what's going to come out of your mouth next. Because you're on a roll. Everything you say has turned out to be true. And what she's telling me, and everybody needs to know this, is, because she won't be on today, but what she's telling me is they will not allow Trump to come back to power. She goes, Jeff, do you understand what I'm telling you? And I'm like, they're going to weaponize the justice system if they have to go even beyond that. They will not allow him or any member of his family to ever come to power again. That's how corrupt our government has become. That's how authoritarian our government has become. I hope it doesn't come to this. I hope there are enough people who have the sense after a while, when you have that many people against you, and the overwhelming majority of the American people, you back off. And that's what I'm hoping for the hand of God. But that's where we are, Pat. The lines are now clearly drawn.
Jeff. Well, I figure if anybody would have a good opinion about it, that's why I wanted to ask you. And I talked to people, I know, and they were like, well, I really don't know. It's like, but I know you're pretty good and up on the politics with the Trump family.
Look, Trump is a historical figure. He, in some ways, is more Eastern European than American. And I don't mean that in terms of his background or ethnicity, but what I mean is a dissident who becomes targeted and persecuted by the regime and then becomes a martyr. And then he almost becomes larger than life. And there's a movement that coalesces around him. And that's what we're witnessing. That's what's driving the Dems crazy. Like, they're like, I don't understand. Their strategy was indict, bleed him, and eventually he'll collapse in the polls. And it's like in Eastern Europe. It's like, I don't get this. The harder you hit him, the stronger he gets. And I said it before, we're all Eastern Europeans now. What they had to endure under communism, or with the poor Cubans or the Venezuelans, that's why, Pat, you go to Florida, his biggest supporters are Cuban and Venezuelan Americans. Biggest supporters. And they do video after video, testimonial after testimonial, saying what we are witnessing in America is what we fled the countries that we left. We're seeing it step by step. What is wrong with you Americans? And they're the biggest, most staunchest Trump supporters. So, look, this is it. 2024, this is it. And that's why I pray. Pat, thank you very, very much for that call. But I think, no, there's no question about it. Trump is a force of nature. He knows exactly what the stakes are. And he's got the biggest weapon at his disposal. He has the truth, and he has the American people behind him. Never forget this. The overwhelming majority of the American people stand with Donald J. Trump. We are not the minority. We're the majority. They want us to think that we're the minority. That's the goal of the media. To depress us, to isolate us, to make us think we're outgunned and outmanned and we're extremists and we're out of the mainstream. No. They're the ones who are outside of the mainstream, not us. 617-266-6868. Victor in Maryland. Thanks for holding, Victor, and welcome.
Jeff, you are the morning man of America. Can't wait for the day when you start saying so-and-so in New York on W blank, blank, blank.
Thank you. Well, we're working on it, Victor. Fingers crossed.
Right. I do know somebody who owns a station on the Eastern Shore, and I've told him about you, and he's very interested.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, Victor, can you do me a favor? When you're done with your call, can you stay on the line and give some information to Sandy, and we'll see what we can do.
Bought a station. It's going to take about 90 days before it's finally approved.
No,
but
that's fine.
It's on the mid-shore.
That's fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, I know the Eastern Shore in Maryland because I used to live in Maryland. But just hang on the line, okay? Please, Victor, when you're done with your call, and Sandy will get some info. Go ahead, Victor. Please, the floor is yours.
Okay. I'm thinking ahead to the 2024 elections, and I want to run something by you and tell me what you think. If I were the Republicans in the blue states, I would not release the results right away. I would make the Democrats sweat it out, and then at the very last minute release the results. And I always vote early anyway, and I take one of my friends with me because I don't trust the audio thing they got set up for the blind. And I have my friend help me vote, and I've voted since 1972.
Interesting. Victor, please hang on. And Sandy will take some of your information, and hopefully we can get hooked up on the Eastern Shore. Okay, 617-266-6868 is the number. Anthony in Michigan. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Hey, about the subject in total, no, Trump should not go to the debates. The entire cadre of people, as far as I'm concerned, are Lilliputians. Other than Vic Ramaswamy, I see him as a cabinet nominee. In terms of VPs, Lake, Rand Paul, and my outside of the box one would be retired Navy SEAL Jocko Willink. Those would be my three for VP. The rest of them, forget about it, as they'd say. Barris brought up something, and he let it slip out this past week, Jeff. This is about the convention floor. With all these people in the race, no one's even thinking out of the box about this. I've been talking to a number of my friends here in Michigan in regards to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's starting to get a lot of attention. Young woman in my sphere got to see that picture of him working out, and she's listening to the Rogan podcast because of it. We're talking all conservatives here. A couple of elderly gentlemen I have coffee with, they've noticed him, but as you can imagine, there's that Trump fatigue syndrome. I talked with a grassroots advocate pretty high up the chain, and they are impressed with Kennedy to the point where I had to agree with them that should he become president, I could live with that. And that's, you know me, it's Trump or bust. So there's a lot going on here right now. Do you agree?
Interesting. No, look, I could live with RFK Jr. I mean, I'm a Trump guy like you all the way. Don't get me wrong, but I could live with RFK. I really could. No, let me throw this. I think you've really touched on something, Anthony. You know, look, Carrie Lake would be great. Don't get me wrong. There were others I think would be very good VPs. But what about RFK Jr.? 617-266-6868 is the number. Couple lines are open if you want to jump on. Zach in Stoughton. Thanks for holding, Zach, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? Since Tucker's been off the air, I haven't been watching any Fox. I tried the Newsmax thing. They're pretty good, but you're the only one, buddy. I just want to tell you.
Thank you, Zach.
I tell you, with all the, you know, Tucker knows. And I can just imagine what you and your wife talk about at night. I'm sure it's like all of us that are listening. We basically know. We hope that it's like we're going to overwhelm them with our votes. But a lot of people, like they say, you know, they're just not going to let him in, and they're going to just put out $100 million if they have to. And as a historian, I wanted to ask you maybe, what is the next step? You know, besides the muskets and going down there, they say they want to make D.C. a state and put a couple of senators there. But, you know, D.C. is its own little corrupt, like almost like a country. And it's like we need to, if this goes down like it does again, we're going to have to do something about it. Trump is larger than life. People that know me that say, Zach, you're such an intelligent guy. How can you like that buffoon? Like I say, and I hope I don't hurt anybody when I say this, but it's his buffoonism, a lot of it, that I love. He doesn't care what people think of him. He'll walk into a, G6 summit or whatever it is and just go, whatever, who's paying, And you're not going to find that with a groomed regular politician. His name is larger than life. So, yes, you might have that little Hitler complex where it's all about him. But I truly believe as a man, he wants to leave a country for his children and the next generations to come. That's why RFK, we all love him. That's why he hung with JFK's kid. And this guy really means it. And the media just took his buffoonism and turned him into some sort of clown. And anybody that follows politics and all the stuff like we do, we knew what he wanted to do is why we love this guy. And maybe you can figure out a way, Jeff, on how we can take over that little country legally without going to our town halls, without all this stuff. There's got to be something in the Constitution without violence. Thanks,
well, Zach, thank you very much for that call. Look, I like the way you phrase it. It is kind of a country unto itself. It really is. It's a cartel. It's the ruling class, as Rush Limbaugh famously called it, based off the book by Angelo Codevilla, which is, that it's both parties, a uniparty, and it's a country that's occupying the United States. Think of Washington, D.C., as essentially a country occupying all of us, the other 50 states of the Union. That's what it is. In many ways, how do I say this? History always repeats itself. What is the ruling class? It's basically a new aristocracy. That's all it is. So the way, an aristocracy has been the way of the world since time immemorial, which is a group of elites together want to rule over and exploit the peasants. And that's how they view you and me and 90% of the American people. We are peasants to be milked, to be exploited, to be used, and ultimately to be controlled for their benefit, their power, their wealth, their children, and their control. So that's what this is all about. What Trump really is a true Democrat, small d, true Republican, small r. He is a representative of the middle working class. And his argument is, no, power shouldn't be in the swamp. Power should be with the people, like our founders and the Constitution intended. Now, you're saying, Jeff, how do we overcome them? If Trump wins in 2024, then, and he's promised this, he's firing people left, right, and center. He's going to dismantle the FBI. He's going to dismantle the DOJ. He's going to dismantle the CIA, the federal bureaucracy. He's going to cut them down like a tree, one after another, after another, after another, after another. And before you know it, Washington, D.C. will be what it was intended, a sleepy little town. And what I like about Trump, he's got other innovative ideas. For example, when you rebuild the FBI, don't have it headquartered in Washington. Put it somewhere else in the country. And that goes for most agencies. Why does everything have to be centered in Washington, D.C.? Now, you're saying, well, what does that do, Jeff? Well, now they're not always together. They're not having lunch together, same cocktails, same dinners. In other words, you decentralize. You put them across the country. Now it's harder for them to coordinate and collaborate and work together. So that's why Trump keeps saying, look, I was a businessman. I was an outsider. I made mistakes. I hired bad people. I hired good people, but I also hired bad people because they infiltrated and they tried to subvert and sabotage what we were trying to do. Now I know the players. You know the expression, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Trump is saying, I make a mistake once. I don't make it a second time. And that's why he's been asked, who are you going to staff your administration with? And now he says, people that are loyal to the America First agenda. Period. Period. And people that have been loyal to me now through thick and thin. Because this has been a baptism by fire. So that's why now, if it's possible, they fear him more now than they did in 2016. Now, you want to see how desperate and pathetic the Democrats have become. This is a local New England story that's getting a lot of national attention. But it shows to you, you're not going to believe this, how much they hate Trump and how much they fear that Biden now is going down. We were right about Russia collusion. We were right about the Mueller report. And now we've been proving right about Biden being a crook. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you got to listen to this because you're going to... Jeff. This is impossible, Jeff. Okay, here it is. You want to see how desperate and deranged the libs and the Democrats have now become. This is Rhode Island state senator. Rhode Island, which is, as you know, I live close southern Mass. I'm almost on the border with Rhode Island. So this is, I wouldn't say my neck of the woods, but fairly close to my neck of the woods. This is Rhode Island state senator Joshua Miller. He goes by Josh. Represents Cranston, Rhode Island, and Providence. He's at the Garden Center shopping mall. Now, this is a Democrat state senator, 69 years old. Okay, let's not mince, let's just not kid around. He's almost 70. The guy's almost 70 years old. He sees an SUV, a vehicle, with an anti-Biden sticker on the car. And what does this loser do? He walks up to it, and there are witnesses, and he takes out his key, and he keys the guy's car. And then when witnesses say, this guy just keyed the car, he gets in his own car, drives off, tries to change his clothes. Then when the police confront him, saying, we got witnesses, hold on, you're a state senator? Are you serious? Well, you vandalized the guy's car. You keyed the guy's car. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was these are gun nuts.
Why would you key his car? Listen, he was threatening me already.
There's a video.
Okay, he was threatening me already.
The cop said, no, we got you on video, man. They're like, no, he was threatening me. I didn't do anything. He was just threatening me. These are gun nuts trying to get me. They go, look, sir, we've got the surveillance. Never mind the witnesses. We've got this. There's a video. We've got the surveillance video. Okay, it's me. Roll 45A, Mike.
So I heard a loud scratching noise, and as I turned the corner, there he was with keys in his hand facing the vehicle.
My way, saying I scratched his car. I didn't scratch his car. I'm a state senator. I think he recognized me. I think he's one of the gun nuts.
I don't even know any of the senators, to be honest.
This is unbelievable. By the way, I'm a state senator. The poor guy who got his car vandalized, he goes, I don't know any state senators. I can't, I don't know their faces. I don't know their names. What do you think? What? I don't know one state senator. But what I find hilarious is the guy's lying. And then we've got you on video. Oh, okay, it was me. Now, by the way, as many people in Rhode Island...
Listen, he was threatening me already.
There's a video.
Okay, he was threatening me already.
I mean, what a loser. What a loser. Now, as many people in Rhode Island are mentioning, he just got caught now. He just got caught. I will bet you the best freaking steak. You pick your steakhouse. I don't believe this was his first car. I think this guy's been keying and vandalizing cars with pro-Trump stickers or anti-Biden stickers. 12 times, 15 times, 20 times? He just got caught because the moron did it in a shopping mall with witnesses and surveillance video. Now, my point is just this. When state senators, Democrats, moonbats, start keying cars of ordinary people because they've got an anti-Biden sticker or a pro-Trump sticker, they're desperate. It's unhinged. It's deranged. Frank, it's a loco, okay? But it's not, they're scared. That's not confidence. That's not confidence. You're keying cars because it's son of a, they're going to come back. They're coming back. Just key the hell out of this thing. He's now looking not just at malicious destruction of property and vandalism. They're actually now looking at obstruction of justice charges. Because he kept lying and lying and lying and lying. Providence, Cranston, Rhode Island. This is your state senator. 6-1. They're in a panic. They're in a panic. And by the way, were the extremists? Were the domestic terrorists? I don't know one MAGA or Trump supporter, I'm telling you, who ever keyed a Biden supporter's car. I've never heard of it. Honestly, I've never heard of it. I mean, we laugh at them. We point our finger and go, what a maroon. You know, who the hell brags about voting for Joe Biden? But keying him? Why? Because we know Biden's going down. We know the guy's a loser. When they're keying cars, I think even they're worried. 617-266-6868. Frank in Gloucester. Thanks for holding, Frank, and welcome.
Hi, good morning, Jeff. Now,
hi, Frank.
I say that Donald Trump has got to get the Republican nomination for president, and I'll tell you why. Because if he doesn't get it, he will not support whoever the Republicans do nominate. And I'll tell you the reason. The reason is he won't support him, and the Republicans, whoever's nominated for the Republicans, and if it's not Donald Trump controls the mega vote. And they need the mega vote to win the swing states. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I mean, obviously, without Trump's endorsement and without the support of MAGA, no Republican can win. Forget the swing states, Frank. I don't even think they can win some of the red states.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Yeah, well, I mean, but Frank, again, anything can happen in politics, but he's up by 40 points. I've never seen any candidate lead by that much. So I don't think we're going to see anybody win. I mean, again, anything can happen, but a year in 6 months in politics is an eternity. But Trump, I think, will win. I think he'll win convincingly, and I think he'll win the general election.
So all these candidates are just wasting their time. Am I correct? I mean,
well, it's up to them. It's a free country. I mean, look, Frank, look, I'm not a Democrat. How do I say this? When Democrats say Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has no right to challenge Biden, I'm disgusted. RFK has every right to primary and challenge Joe Biden. So if they want to challenge Trump, it's a free country. Go ahead. That's what democracy is all about.
That's all your talking points. But the point I'm getting at is Trump is not a true Republican because he will not support a Republican candidate. Am I correct?
Well, no. No. Hold on. Well, we'll see. I mean, it depends which Republican. It's not just any Republican. If Trump loses fair and square, or say Trump gets ill, then no, of course he would. I think there are some Republicans he would definitely support. Of course he would. Others he wouldn't. But no, you're right. In that sense, he's not an establishment Republican. He's not. He's more of an independent who happens to be a Republican. I mean, I know for Democrats this is hard to understand, but he has principles that are above loyalty to party. He's not, like most Democrats, he's not a party hack. He's not a hack.
Somebody that he would support. You can't name somebody.
Well, no, Vivek Ramaswamy he would definitely support. Without question.
He wouldn't support nobody. Are you kidding?
Well, no, hold on. Well, no, I mean, Frank, please, come on, stop. If the guy is sick, say he can't run, or whatever reason, of course there are some people he would support. What are you talking about?
What? Why would they? Why would he support it? He's never done it before. He's never supported them before. Why would he do it now? What's the reason? What reason would he have to support him?
Well, A, you have people that believe in the MAGA movement and the America First agenda. And two, people like Vivek Ramaswamy has said, should they try to indict or convict Trump, he will pardon him. Hello? 617-266-6868 is the number. Bill in Framingham. Thanks for holding, Bill, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff. I have a much more extremist view of what needs to happen.
Okay.
We're losing our country. We're on the precipice of losing our country. We have no laws. Nobody obeys the Constitution. So my extremist view would be you get the best fighters in the world, the Navy SEALs and Delta Force Marine Recon who are retired. They're experts in explosives, marksmanship, surveillance, everything. Have 4-man teams and start taking out the enemy, which they've gone overseas and hundreds of times and killed our enemies overseas for the same reason that what's happening in our country. They're destroying our country. They fought and saw their buddies die and for nothing. So have them have cells just like Muslim cells and start taking these people out. Because if you don't start taking them out and sending that kind of message, we're going to lose our country. And these guys who gave their lives, their blood, I would think would be more willing. What's another notch on the belt to them? They would be killing the enemy. And that's my extremist view, Jeff.
Well, Bill, look, I mean, I understand your frustration. Believe me, I really do. But look, if we start going down this road, that essentially is domestic terrorism. I mean, that's what it is. And I think it's what the regime would want, because they would use that as a justification to crack down on us, on you, on me, on all of us. Anybody who supports Trump, anybody who supports the Constitution, who's a conservative, who's an opponent of the Biden regime. Look, Bill, you may obviously disagree with me. My sense is here, look, we are an army, a political army. We're at least 80 million. I believe we're a lot more, but let's go conservative. 80 million. If you believe the polls, we're minimum 80 million. We have the election of a lifetime. Maybe the election, the most important in our country's entire history, coming up in 15, 16 months. Let's give democracy one more chance. And let's see what happens after 2024. We have the numbers. We clearly now are going to win. So what I'm saying is, let's not go down the road of violence until we've exhausted all legal, peaceful, democratic means, especially when we're not the minority, but we're now the overwhelming majority. Do you see what I'm saying, Bill?
I know what you're saying, Jeff. It's just that we had all that the last time. They don't obey laws, the Constitution laws. They don't obey the regular laws. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody gets arrested. Nothing. And we're going down this hole because of these people. They're a communist regime that's taking down our country. So why not take them out?
Bill, look, I got to be careful. I don't want to say anything that could get me, you, all of us in trouble. My fear, and I've been open about this, and I'm not the only one. I know Trump's deep fear, many people's fear, is that this may lead to a civil war. James McPherson, Bill, if you enjoy history, McPherson, who by the way is a liberal, a moderate liberal, not a crazy liberal, but a moderate liberal, is considered the best historian on the Civil War, our Civil War. And McPherson now has written that he looks at America today and he says it's no different than 1860. This is McPherson. This is the leading historian on the Civil War, saying we are no longer one nation but two nations. And his fear is that we could have a repeat. So this may be our inevitable fate. I don't want it to be. I hope. I never want to see this country become violent or have people fighting and killing another American. but we've got 15 months. Bill, we can all wait 15 months, and then we'll have to take it from there. I mean, that's all we can do now is vote, organize, be involved as much as we can, and pray. It's in God's hands. Bill, thank you very much for that call. Because the alternative is just, we shouldn't even want to go there. The alternative is unspeakable. And that's why I've been telling liberals and Democrats, you're playing with fire. This is what happens in third world banana republics. When you start throwing leading political opponents in jail, when you start persecuting and harassing and going after opponents and dissidents and critics of the regime, you are unleashing furies and forces you cannot control. That's why you don't do these things. Now, I believe it has boomeranged and reverberated against them. And that's why now Trump is surging so strongly and Biden is imploding. Fingers crossed. Pray for America. To the callers, magnificent. Magnificent. I gotta go. Bye-bye.